Good morning, this is J.D. Alexander coming to you with your next segment of Alexander on Beef. And what we're doing today is talking about our rations and the makeup of the rations that go to feed the cattle. One of the primary products that we use is an ethanol byproduct. We're in a very highly concentrated area that utilize the ethanol industry, and the ethanol byproducts is a product that really is very conducive to the cattle feeding and necessary for us to have a good balanced ration. This actually is a combination of the steep liquor, gluten, and DDGs all put back together again, and it's kind of a basis for our ration. As you can see, it's got some pretty good roughage. It's also got a fair amount of moisture in it, so it really makes for a very good base for our ration. On this side we call this our high moisture corn. Now this is actually a product that we've taken out of the field with our combine last fall, and the moisture of the corn is up there probably towards 28 to 30% moisture. We harvest it, bring it in, hammer mill it, and then pack it into a bunker, which we'll show you in a little bit. And then we feed this throughout the winter and the year. It's a good way to store a lot of corn without having to use bins. This is another angle or a viewpoint of how we store our high moisture corn. It gives us a great opportunity to store a lot amount of corn without utilizing bin space. It's actually a silage, or kind of like a silo. We hammer mill it, push it up and pack it to keep the oxygen free so it's maintain its characteristics throughout the year. The one thing we have to keep in mind is that we always feed roughage to the cattle. You know, when they're being raised on the ranches, they eat a lot of grass or roughage there. They continue that all the way through their lifestyle, and so we do feed them a lot of roughage as well. Our roughage primarily is made up of alfalfa hay that is ground up. The real thing that I've been using a lot of lately now is also ground up corn stalks, soybean stubble, and so on. So it really is very important to get we call it the scratch factor. That is what is needed for the roughage of the ruminant animal. So this is where we keep our roughage. We do have it under a roof. With the moisture, it keeps it out of the elements. A lot of times if you get rain and snow or moisture, it's really not the best for the roughage, so we try and protect it and make sure that it's a good dry roughage when it goes into the ration. You know, America's beef is really known for the corn-fed beef and the marbling that it presents and the great taste. The basis of that is corn. This is actually number 2 rolled corn. It's dry, and this is really what the basis for your ration is as far as giving it the corn base. As I mentioned earlier, we also use a high moisture corn. This is a way that we combine the two and make it just a good ration to make sure it's balanced. The other item that we use, a balancing pellet. Our nutritionist puts together the analysis of all the feedstuffs, and then we make the balancing pellet is the final ingredient that goes into it. All the ingredients that we just talked about are measured very carefully. We use a payloader to actually pick the ingredient up, and we put it into the batcher. We've got a scale on it, so we know exactly what percent or how many pounds of each ingredient needs to go into our ration. We look at this, we feed them twice a day, and when we dump them in there, then it is dumped eventually into the feed truck and delivered to the bunk when we call the bunks and what is needed to be delivered to the actual pen for the cattle that are going to be eating it. Okay, we've described to you our ingredients that go into the ration. Continue with us next time, where we'll show you the actually delivering of the feed to the bunks and how we determine which pen they go to and how much, and actually a little bit of a lesson in bunk reading.